Aloha. There's the Hanalei Pier, right? Looking out into the bay. Here's the plaque. So a friend of mine from the south side called me a few days ago asking about how Black Pot is doing, which is this area. And he said, do a video on it. So I'm going to do that. So before the 2018 April floods, this was still a vacant lot like this, but you couldn't see through it. There were tons of trees and everything. And people would park all along here. They would park all the way up to here, and then I'd go walk the bay, right? So this parking, that's one of the things they changed. Another thing they changed is that there's the shower, right? Right about here, there was a bathroom, a little bathroom that you could use. It's always super dirty, of course. And they've rebuilt this beautiful new bathroom, which hasn't opened yet. And Black Pot Beach itself, they chopped down a lot of the ironwoods over there. It's a lot more open. And they put these boulders up because this was like another road right here. People would drive down here, and there was tons of people that parked on the beach. They put the boulders up so people couldn't park, because for environmental reasons, oil was leaking on the sand and getting in the ocean and on the reef and that kind of stuff. So this park, let me show you how they changed the parking. I've added a lot more parking, which is great. It's a lot easier to get around. So you have over here, there's like kind of two sort of parking rows, right? Where there's the handicap parking where I'm standing now. But here you can park down here, you can park down on this side, or right here right here on this strip, they have a strip of parallel parking. And then you have like two more rows of parking, one right there and one right there. So this is kind of like a little roundabout, if you can see it. You drive in and drive out through here. And across this street, right, they've opened up all of this new parking, which is awesome, right? So you have like this whole parking here. You can't see really because the sun is glaring, but the road narrows right there, and then it opens up into another parking lot. So there's a ton of parking across the street too, right? So if you remember when the floods happened, this was like this all washed away. It was like this gulf where the sand had just like washed out into the sea. It's crazy. There were a couple cars that had like been washed down here that were flipped over or on their side. And the bathroom stayed for a few days, but then it fell over. But it's all been repaired or changed. But we're waiting for the bathrooms to open, right? But it's back to mostly normal. And of course, people are walking on the beach again. There's no more parking along this row anymore or on the beach, but I think overall there's a lot more parking. So it's still a beautiful spot. One of my most favorite places in the world. One of the most beautiful, if not the most beautiful place in the world, really. So let me show you what had happened out here in the bay. So because this was like a river, right? It pushed all this sand out. So out by where the pier is, I have pictures of the pier on dry ground, right? Because there's all this sand was pushed out into the bay. And you can see this house? Well, I don't know, the sun's glaring. But the house next to it, they had to tear down. They couldn't save. This one also had a ton of damage, but it looks like they're repairing a lot of it. But all of this sand from underneath these houses was pushed out onto the bay or into the bay. And so this went kind of like that. There was sand out, a ton of sand out here. So they dug it up, put it back on the beach. So this is back to normal, or back to how it was before the floods. And you can see the shoreline looks pretty much the same. The shoreline in Honolulu Bay is actually growing too, which is interesting. Those are the big changes. You can see that better here that there's this now like an empty lot, right? Where our house was. And that orange kind of like a fence was to keep people out of that property that were looking. Anyways, I hope that's helpful. All right. Have a great day. Aloha.